Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. So today we are going to be talking about Crassula, the string of buttons. Now there are a couple of varieties in this pot itself. There are a couple of varieties. Now this is called as Ivory Tower. This is a regular string of buttons, and I think this is the variegated one. I'm not quite sure about the name, but I think this is the variegated string of buttons. So there are around three different varieties in one pot. So this is Ivory Tower, Crassula, string of buttons. So this pot just started to grow right now. I mean, like a month back. But this is how the original mother plant was. She was completely destroyed while moving from the other house to this place, and I had to chop it off, and now you can see there are a lot of new babies that are coming up. This is one of them, Ivory Tower, but you can see it's not in a very good condition, and these are some baby necklace which were also damaged while moving from one place to another. So this is the original mother plant which I had done the stem cutting. So now they are putting out some pups, but they're not in a very good condition because I often forget to water them, but I have started watering it, and now they're looking a little bit fresh, but they're not in their best condition. So these were the cuttings that I separated from the mother plant, and now you can see they're doing pretty well. They're pretty easy to grow. They look absolutely beautiful. Very easy to take care, especially if you are a little bit experienced with succulents, then this is going to work out really well for you. But I would still put this plant in medium because a lot of beginners might find it a little difficult, because the issue with this plant is it takes a little while for it to get adjusted in the new environment, and because a lot of us do not have that much of patience, and due to this we either overwater it or we keep it underwater, due to which the plant tends to die. Apart from that, this plant prefers a good amount of morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours, and that's why you can see the stress colors. Apart from that, it's also in its dormant stage right now because it's summers. Crassulas tend to go dormant during the summers. So this is a one variety of string of buttons. Not one variety, basically there are three varieties in this. This one again is the variegated one, I guess. So they are slightly delicate, especially for beginners. So they can be slightly difficult for beginners, especially when they arrive. If they come bare root, it is going to take some time for them to adjust, because a lot of times when we purchase succulents online, they are going to come without pot and without soil, because that is one of the safest way to transport succulents. So a lot of times beginners have difficulty in getting this succulent adjusted to the new environment, and due to which the plant tends to die. A lot of times I have seen people sending me pictures wherein their plant tends to look like this. It's completely dried out, and then the stem starts to dry. This usually happens when the plant is trying to get acclimated to the new environment. A lot of times because of underwatering, the stem will completely get dried, and once the stem is like in this condition, like this dry, it will not produce any new pups on those dry stems. Now luckily this plant started to revive back because there was a little bit fresh stem present on it. But I think over here you can see this one is completely dried. Now this stem is completely gone. Probably I had added a cutting of the stem, but as I said, I forgot to water it, and due to which it started to dry out, and the plant was completely damaged. But luckily it is putting out a little bit of pups now, thanks to my environment and climate. The succulents are very forgiving in my environment, so it tends to give me another chance. But luckily I was able to save this plant via cuttings, and now you can see it looks absolutely beautiful. Now talking about the soil requirements, I would say the soil remains the same what you use for other succulents. It has to be loose, porous and well draining, but do not keep this succulent underwatered for a very long time. Otherwise the stem will start to dry, as you can see on the right hand side. So you have to have a proper watering schedule. Do not overwater it, do not keep it underwatered. If you want, you can maintain a notebook wherein you know exactly when was the last time you watered. If you are a person who is very busy and tends to forget to water your succulents, I think having a notepad handy would work out really well. So give it a good amount of morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours. You can even grow it in indirect bright light as well. The only thing is that the colors will be missing. And if you are from a place wherein the temperatures are very extreme, both during summers and winters, you can get it indoor and grow it under a good quality of grow light, and then you will be able to see the colors under grow light as well. But ensure that you give it a good amount of light, because if the light is not present, then this succulent will start to stretch. So you have to be extremely careful, and the plant itself will let you know that it requires more light because it is going to start to stretch. You will tend to see a lot of gaps in between the leaves that will indicate that the plant is stretching for light. And talking about pest attack, I haven't had any issues with pest attack because the leaves are very thick on this succulent. So pests are not much of an issue, but in case if you happen to see any pest, then you can go for an organic solution. Propagation is pretty simple. As I said, you can cut off any part of the succulent and put it into the soil, but do not water it right away. You have to wait. They have these very thin stems which have to callus. They have these woody stems that need to callus. So if you are putting it in dry soil, ensure that you do not water it. You have to let it callus. So to be on the safer side, after you're done with cutting, just keep it on a dry place for at least 2 or 3 days, and the callus process will be over, after which you can put it into the soil. Again, do not water immediately. Bottom watering is going to work out really well. Now they tend to do root out really fast, so you do not need to be worried, but you can just slightly moisten the soil. Do not add too much of water, but after you have put the cutting into the soil, within a week or so the roots will appear. So that is a very good way of propagating this plant. Or you can even separate the offsets. As you can see, there is an offset over here. There are these small little offsets which you can cut them off once they reach a decent size, or you can do a stem cutting. You can even propagate them via these leaves, but I would suggest don't go for that because it takes a very long time, and a lot of times the leaves will dry up. So the best option, the faster option, is to do a stem cutting or separating of the offsets. But again, you can even do leaf propagation, but it's going to take a very long time, and it's a very tricky situation. You have to give a lot of care. So rather than that, you can just do a stem cutting and put them into the pot. So that's all about this beautiful variety of Crassula. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.